NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here. Bring your latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. All right, so since my last NetsBoy episode, the Nets have played 4 games, and they went 2-2. A stretch that you would say, hey, you know what? The way they started off the season, you'll take that. But honestly, they really should have been 3-1, and they really kind of dug themselves a pretty big ditch, or hole. Same thing. A ditch is a hole, but they dug themselves a pretty big hole to start the season with this 3-4 start that they have. And I'll explain why a little bit later. But let's first talk about the last 4 games. Look, starting with the Pacers. That was a game that I still felt the Nets should have won. But at the end of the day, the Pacers were just the hungrier team. You know, they had not won a game yet at that point, and that was their first win of the year. And they just came out just more aggressive and more assertive. And let's be honest, we know the Pacers are a good team. Like, I don't think last year was a fluke. And I know that they still don't have Oladipo, but that's still a pretty good team. And there's a lot of new players on that team, similar to the Nets. So I think when it comes playoff time, that the Pacers will be there. And so they're, to me, a playoff team. Still feel the Nets should have won that game, but I can give that game a pass. They then follow that up with, hands down, the best win they had all year so far. And that was a great, convincing win against the Rockets. And, you know, that was a great game. LeVert looked great. Kyrie Irving was solid. Made some big shots at the end, like he always does, it seems like, which is great. You know, everyone played really well. Jared Allen had a good game. You know, it was just a great team effort. Taurean Prince looked amazing, and even Garrett Temple made big shots. And, you know, if you remember, I don't like Garrett Temple, and part of the reason is he'll have a performance like he had against the Rockets, where you're like, wow, this guy's amazing, and I guarantee you there's going to be a game coming up soon that he's just going to go 0 for 7 from the floor and have like 3 turnovers. You're going to be like, are you kidding me? What happened to the game where he's like making like 4 of 6 from 3 and making winning plays? That's why I don't like Garrett Temple. I don't like extremely inconsistent players that are like amazing one night and then completely garbage the next night. Cough, cough, Darren Williams. Anyway, sorry. I don't like Darren Williams. I never have and I never will, and I'm pretty sure most Net fans don't like him either. But beside the point. So that was a great win. But then they go from like the all-time high of the year to the all-time freaking low. Like, I thought the Grizzlies loss was going to be one of the worst losses they had all year, being that they were up the whole game and then they blew the lead and lost on a buzzer beater. The Pistons game, that Pistons loss, is most likely, I can't say for sure because the season's still very young, but hands down up to this point, the first 7 games of the season, the worst loss the Nets have had this year and probably for the whole year. The Pistons didn't have Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin, or Reggie Jackson. They're missing 3 of their best 4 players. All they had was Andre Drummond. And somehow the Nets managed to blow a 15-point lead in the third quarter and just get completely outplayed by the Pistons down the stretch. And Kenny actually just goes, oh, well, we were running on tired legs. We ran out of steam. Why are you running out of steam? It was a back-to-back. I get it, but it was a back-to-back for the Pistons as well. So that made no sense. Look, that loss was terrible. And there was a lot of reasons why they lost that game. But I'm obviously going to point out to that third quarter where the Nets just could not score. And I don't know if you noticed this, but every game there's a 5 to 10 minute span in which this Nets offense just has no idea what they're doing. And it usually is because Spencer frickin' Dinwiddie is out there just being stupid. And look, I'm not going to rip him as bad as a lot of Net fans have been ripping Spencer, as well as Kurucs, who also is unbelievably struggling. Like, a lot of Net fans want those guys to be benched or be traded immediately or whatever. I'm not going to get that crazy because we saw how good Kurucs can play. We saw it last year. He just needs to get the confidence back and shoot the damn ball because he's always open for three and he refuses to shoot it. But Kuzma needs to get some confidence back. And Dinwiddie, look, Dinwiddie was a sixth-man of the year candidate last year. He averaged almost over 17 points a game, or almost 17 points a game. Made big shots for the Nets last season. We know who this guy is, okay? So I don't want to rip him too much, but I am going to say this to Spencer Dinwiddie. Bro, you're doing too much. Calm down. All right? Look at what the defense is doing and take what it's giving you and make the right play. Stop trying to do these 1-on-3 drives to the baskets and then missing the shot and then crying that you got fouled. Stop trying to do these crazy step back threes that aren't even close to going in. Stop trying to throw ridiculous lob passes to DeAndre Jordan, which, by the way, those are some of the worst lob passes ever. I mean, Taco Falls with a rocket up his butt couldn't even catch half these passes the way Dinwiddie's throwing them. You know, it's you're doing too much, bro. Just play and read the defense and play and do what the offense wants you to do and what the defense is giving you. If the defense is charging you high on the picks, pop the ball out to the center on the roll. If they're guarding for the roll, well then don't force the pass. Read the defense. And I don't know what his problem is. I do know. Bro, you're doing too much. And every time the Nets go on that drought where they can't score at all, it's always because either Dinwiddie, LeVert, or Kyrie start getting too ball dominant and start trying to do too much. The difference is, of those three guys, Dinwiddie is the worst of them, which he is. Like, Kyrie is in a whole league of his own. LeVert has looked very sharp, though he's had some moments where, once again, you say, bro, you're doing too much. But Dinwiddie just, look, I feel like Dinwiddie suffers from something I like to call better than you actually are syndrome. And this is when a player who is good, and Dinwiddie is good, and I will never say he's not, but they have these moments of where they look like all-stars or they look great, like Dinwiddie did last year against the Rockets. Remember that game when the Nets were down by, I think, 9 points or something like that with like a minute and a half to go, and Dinwiddie made all those threes and single-handedly carried the Nets and then made the game-winning basket in overtime? Like, Dinwiddie is capable of that, but he's never going to be a star. He's not consistent enough. He's not good enough to be a star player. He's good enough to be a sixth man, which I believe he is. I feel like that he could easily be the sixth man on any team. And I actually think he could start on any team. I think he has starter caliber skill set, and he's sixth man, but he's not an all-star. Dinwiddie will never make the all-star team. I'm sorry. It's true. I don't see it happening. He'll never be an all great player. He's just a really good point guard, and that's what he is. But because he has these moments where he's been great in the past, he thinks he's amazing, which is fine. Have confidence, but still play within your means. And that's the problem with Dinwiddie. He doesn't play within his means. He thinks that he can make the home run play every time, and that's what he always tries to do, make the home run play. And that's not smart basketball, and that's what Dinwiddie's doing. So, once again, bro, you're doing too much, all right? That's my point on Dinwiddie. And like I said, Kurucs, he just needs confidence. But anyway, they then followed that up with a win against the Pelicans, which was good, and, because they needed to win that game. And it was very important that they won that game because now they're facing the first major challenge of the year and probably the first pivotal point of the season. There's always a couple pivotal points, which I don't know if that's true because you think like there should be only one pivotal point. But still, the first significant, let's say that, stretch of games for the Nets. They have the 5-game road trip coming up in which 4 of the first 5 games are on the West Coast before they end against the Bulls. Here's the problem with this road trip, and this is why the Nets needed to beat the Pistons, and because if they beat the Pistons, it would have been 4-3 instead of 3-4. Because this is going to be the reason why. So the next 5 games for the Nets, you've got the Portland Trail Blazers, a team that made it to the Western Conference Finals last year, even though they're banged up. the Phoenix Suns, who out of nowhere look like an incredibly solid and good team. You know, Devin Booker's playing lights out, and they've beaten some really good teams, so they're not going to be the same easy team they used to be. The Utah Jazz, who, by the way, have championship aspirations, were the fourth seed in the West last year. They now have Mike Conley, who has struggled, yes, but still, that's one of the best teams in the Western Conference. So they got them. And then they got, the Denver Nuggets, which, by the way, one of the best teams in the Western Conference last year and one of the best teams in the NBA, period. So you have four unbelievably tough opponents on the road on the West Coast coming up before you conclude the road trip in Chicago against the Bulls, which, listen, the Nets need to win that game. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it because that's the only team of the next 5 teams that they're playing that the Nets are actually better than. Because I don't believe the Nets are better than those other 4 teams. I don't. I really don't. I'm being honest. So this is a rough stretch, which is why it was pivotal for the Nets to build up their record. I mean, honestly, the Nets really should be 5-2 right now. Like, they really should. They should not have blown the game against the Pistons, and they shouldn't have blown the game against the Grizzlies. All right? And if they did that, the Nets would be 5-2. And then if they did 5-2, they'd be in a decent shape going into this road trip because the Nets could very easily go 1-4 these next 5 games. And if that happens, this team is now 4-8. Like, that is devastating. If the Nets go 4-8, I might as well just shred up my wallet and throw away all my money because the Nets sure will never get to the over on the of 45 wins and the money that I bet on the over for them. That's not going to happen. I might as well tear up that ticket or immediately cash out because I did it online. So you know what I mean? Like, seriously, like, this is a really big stretch. So what's going to happen? They're going to have to pull some upsets. They're going to have to beat some really good teams on the road, and they've got to go. They can't go worse than 2-3. They go 2-3, they'll be 5-7, still 2 games under 500. That's still doable because then they've got a little bit simpler of a schedule after that. The Pacers, the Hornets, the Kings, the Knicks, the Cavs. Those are all very winnable games after that stretch. So as long as they can stay with it around 500, I believe this team can build up and get to that 45 wins, which obviously I'm going to be talking a lot about that 45 wins, which once again, I have money betting on the over. And, which by the way, I just want to say one thing. When you bet on an over-under, and you especially take an over, it makes every game just more and more stressful. Like, this year, that was a mistake, okay? I'm going to be honest. Betting on the Nets, not that I don't think they're going to do it. That's not the mistake. The mistake is it's kind of taking the joy out of these games. Like, when they lose, I am super angry, and I'm mad for like 24, 48 hours. Like, usually when the Nets lose a bad game, like a game against the Pistons, I'm mad for the rest of the night, and I'm like, you know what? And I go to bed, I wake up the next morning, I'm like, whatever. But now, I'm stressing constantly. I'm constantly like, oh my God, they're 3-5, and 3-4, and they're under 500. How they got to build up? They got to get to 45 wins. And I'm going to lose money. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's tough. It's tough, man. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you all. If I start stressing out more and more with every Nets loss, that's the reason. But that's why this stretch is critical. So if they can go 2-3, like I said, and be 5-7, be a couple games under 500, I'll be okay with that. But anything less, it's gonna be just gonna be really tough for the Nets to try to dig out of that hole. So we'll see what happens. But it's gonna be rough. Anyway, so let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you agree with me about Dinwiddie doing too much and just the Nets overall as a whole. What you think they're going to do in this upcoming road trip, and who knows? Maybe they'll shock us. I sure hope so because, like I said, every loss just crushes me just a little bit more and more. So we'll see what happens. So keep your eyes open Keep your eyes open for the next NetsBoy, and until then. This is NetsBoy, signing off. When the Nets just